catch them when I could.
Why are we talking about spooky things? What's happening?
It's spooky time.
Yeah, welcome to
spooky
this episode of Real to Real. Mm-hmm. I'm
That's
going
what
to
Spook to spook.
spook
Spook to kook.
spook to kook,
Kook to spook.
the loop.
Loop to spook.
We're going to be watching The Guest,
The Geist.
2011 or something like that.
Oh,
Really?
No, you're the one who knows about this movie.
Really?
You don't.
I thought it was more recent than that. Holy shit.
Could be, but yeah, it has Dan Stevens,
Okay.
Lance Reddick,
Okay.
and
I enjoyed the Chronicles of Riddick.
His
if you remember him
Chronicles
from, he was
were slightly interesting.
in The Wire. He was big in The Wire.
Oh,
He was like
Is
the
he small? Is he small in this?
what's up?
which one was he in The Wire?
Really tall guy, really tall black guy that was in charge of the whole group.
So is he?
Oh yeah. I like
is he
that
small
guy.
in this?
He was in Homicide: Life on the Streets too.
Yep. So yeah, you'll recognize him right off the bat. And there's other girl that made her debut in the
yes, other
movie
girl.
It Follows.
Oh,
And that's another kind of spooky movie. But this movie,
About
I kind of
SUVs.
just pitched it to you guys as like Mike Myers meets
Michael
Terminator.
Michael Myers, not Mike Myers.
Yeah. When you say Mike Myers.
Yeah. Halloween. Not Austin Powers meets the Terminator.
Little
As
bit.
he's killing
Little bit
somebody.
of Shrek thrown in there.
He beheads
Swing.
somebody. A swing.
Shwing.
What sound does the axe make? A swing.
Yeah, but it's Mike Myers.
Okay.
Michael.
Yes.
Mike.
Michael Myers.
Shorthand. And the Terminator
Yep.
that show up at a person's house and become the guest. And then chaos ensues. I mean, you'll see like what brings him to this house, his initial like
No.
why he wants to do this, and then you'll kind of like have some kind of twist at the end. I'm not going to give away, but you guys, I want to see how you perceive this character, and depending on if you think he was, I guess I shouldn't talk too much about it because it's kind of a good.
No.
It's a good twist.
I would
How
say
many-
shut your mouth because then
Yeah,
you're gonna give away more than
Yeah,
maybe I want to know.
because
This
I'm
was
right
like-
now speculating on stuff that I never thought before about the movie.
Yeah.
This might be too much to give away, but how many under the table handies occur in this movie?
Holy shit! Where's that question coming from?
Under the table handies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
I don't know where this came from. I don't know what nugget we're latching onto.
Yeah,
here.
I don't know
We're
how-
asking about under table handies, folks.
Are you? I don't know. Maybe.
The fact that you don't have a solid answer is even more confounding.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Hey,
No,
That
It's
should be
been
a
a while.
question that you
Dude,
can just.
sometimes
answer.
when there's guests in the house, under the table handies happen.
Is it 0 or is it more than 0?
I can just tell you that this guest is he might be a good guest.
So there's at least one under the table handy.
He might be a savior to this family.
Yeah.
But eventually something was bound to happen.
The tungle gets bungled.
Something happens where they slap him away from
God.
that bungle. Get away
Alright.
from that bungle.
They
get
keep
it.
that bungle nice and protected.
You guys you'll be enthralled. I think
No,
you'll get
just,
hooked into
just
it.
before we end this here, the way that you phrased it made me think about a scenario that I'd love to see played out. Instead of it being an amalgamation of Michael Myers and the Terminator coming to one house, it is those two separate characters coming to one house to like
Give under the table handies?
to rent the room that they have there, and then they have to be roommates, and there's like an odd couple situation between those two people, one who doesn't talk and one who isn't human.
Can
So
you
you have the
imagine the
Terminator
day-
sitting on one end of the room just like, fuck you, asshole. And Michael Myers just sitting with a knife in the other end of the room like,
Can you
and
imagine
tilting
the,
his head.
breathing and just like looking at him. Yeah.
the dank mashup between the Terminator and Halloween theme song that would happen in that movie?
Yeah. That,
Bum 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 bum.
yeah, that would be a weird timing. No, it doesn't.
Time
Well, they're
signatures are
different
off.
time signatures.
I know,
yeah.
but it would sound quite odd.
All right.
Oh, we'll make it happen.
We're gonna watch this, and you guys, I think you're gonna like this because it's not anything that you suspect. It's a Halloween themed movie. I should say that too.
Okay.
Well, I suspect under the table handies. So
All right.
I
I hope you're surprised.
I
I
do too, dude.
one
I do
last
too.
one last thing that I want to say. is that this entire time there's been something in Broadshow's beard, and I haven't said anything or picked it out for him
Oh,
or
it's
done
all good.
anything about it. I just let it sit there.
It was a piece of the.
Are you
Does
eating?
he have it?
Are you eating?
The sucker
That?
stick?
a sucker stick?
I see
Maybe.
part of it in your mouth.
Maybe.
It's in your mouth.
Yeah, it's in my mouth.
So you're
What's the
eating
point?
the like plastic, no paper, like
Yeah.
sucker stick.
You have pica?
Yep.
What's
I
what's
mean,
up
I
with you, man?
guess. I guess.
I've just done it all the time since I was a little kid.
All right, I'm cutting this
I'm
off.
sorry. I'm sorry. I have one more thing to say. You can cut it whatever time you
Sure,
want.
sure.
Earlier when I stood up, your foot was where it is now.
Yeah.
I went like this, and your toe, I felt the most clear as crystal. Just go right across my face. It even touched the corner of my mouth a little
Toe
bit.
caress.
So I was scooting over there on the ground, and I was like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna like wipe that toe away."
Little broad show fact here. The outside of my big toe has a pretty decent callus on it. So I did not feel that at all.
But I did feel that
Hot takes.
on my face.
You get it only here.
There was
on reel to reel.
There was toe to face contact.
toe to
tonight,
face
folks.
contact, eating sucker sticks, and under the table handies.
Do you know this is how we ended
That's
Castlevania?
not happening here. That's not happening.
No,
it's
the
just being
movie is- it's
discussed.
in the
It's just
movie.
being discussed.
That's how we ended Castlevania. So I'm glad we started with the
Under
toe.
the table handies?
That's the third time.
The fucking toe, the blueberry toe.
Oh, blueberry toe.
That wasn't even blueberry toe.
There's a little,
No, no.
baby nail going on right now.
We ended with toes
Now it's raspberry
in
jam toe.
Castlevania.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like from my recollection, we just talked about toes by the end of that episode.
Blueberry toe?
Yeah, and you'll watch it. It's
Will we?
bizarre.
But as of this
Actually,
second,
this actually might come up before that, so I don't know.
you never know.
All right, so let's jump into this movie
Yep.
and no more toe talk.
Let's get out from under the table.
Totalitarian.
And now, our feature presentation.
So that was The Guest.
The Gleast.
Actually came out in 2014,
Yes.
so
Still,
somewhat
like-
recent.
Seems. I don't know. I always.
Thanks to McCurtish Bartsamyan for the end titles.
Yep, him and two other folks.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was a great name.
How'd you guys like the film for the most part?
For the most part, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I had problems with some of it.
Yeah.
Just a lot of common sense stuff. Like the parents, I was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. To kind of go through the movie beat by beat. I mean, like I said, it wasn't too hard to not follow along with the story.
No.
It was pretty
Straightforward.
straightforward.
Yeah.
This guy shows up.
Yep.
Off the bat, the first thing in the movie is
Yeah.
him running with the backpack on, and then we cut to the mom like looking at a picture, being sad, and then she's sitting in the chair, and boom, he's there at the door. So they get into it nice and quick. And they don't fuck around,
Just
which
like,
is nice.
hey,
Yep.
I am a former compatriot of your son in the military. I was there when he died. Blah blah blah.
My name's David.
He asked,
My name's David.
He asked me to like look after you guys and just check up
Yeah.
on you.
The parents then are like, "Cool." The mom's like, "Awesome. You're my son now." And the dad's like, "Have a beer. You want a beer? You want a beer?" The son's like, "Oh, this is like the big brother that I lost." And the daughter's just like, "I don't like him.
I kind of want
And
to fuck
then-
this guy, but I don't like him.
I don't like him." And then
Yeah, she kind of had like an infatuation
Oh yeah,
a little bit at the beginning,
little
but then like throughout, she's like, I'm curious here.
and then things get suspicious
Yeah.
as he's like throughout the movie. You see, obviously, it's not what he's not who he says he is, probably because he's just murking bitches left and right.
Yeah, well-
I'm kind of changing my mind on this movie a little bit.
It's subtle how he enters this family, and the family all have problems. So the mom
Yeah, he
is
capitalizes
she's
on
so
it.
distraught by the loss of her son. She actually speaks to David, and then she feels a little bit better about David knowing her son a little bit towards the end of his life. And then the dad kind of confides in David after they're drinking some booze, saying like, you know what, I really hate my boss. I could have got his
99%
position.
of this guy, of the dad, who's been a TV dad or movie dad for at least the last 25 years or so in everything.
Yeah,
You'd
he's
recognize the guy.
yeah, but he confides in David saying that I hate my boss. I should have got the promotion over him. And then off screen, we don't see any of this happen.
Surprise,
the dad
surprise.
comes home saying, "Wow, my boss died. Him and his girlfriend OD'd on drugs or something like that."
Yep.
So you're led to assume that David had some play.
He
in
says that like right after the fact of you seeing David kill the drug dealer guy and the gun guy.
The gun
Yeah.
guy. Yep. So he goes to this party with the daughter because the mom insists, like, what, show David a nice time, or make him feel welcome.
David, would you like to go to this party with me?
My mom told me to ask
I think
you.
that was like the line delivery.
Yeah.
David, would you like to go to this party with me?
She
She's
didn't
like,
want
oh,
And he's
okay.
like, okay. And he goes to the party, and then he meets this guy that's like, hey man, I can get you stuff if
Hey,
you want
man.
some stuff.
We're gonna smoke
Who's
some of
the
the
fucking
green
the
leaf.
pretentious
We're gonna-
game developer guy from Grandma's Boy?
Grandma's boy,
yeah.
Beep, boop, boop.
Yeah. Which, I mean, like, in this movie, he seemed like he was, like, I don't know. Yeah, a drug dealer, but more or less.
He was more an
pretty-
in-between guy.
Pretty just, like,
Average.
not insidious or, like, doing anything bad that, like, deserved him dying.
No, it's just that he was witness to what was happening, so he had to die.
Nope, he doesn't want anybody knowing that David has these weapons, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I-
then,
I-
before that too is the son gets fucking
Yep, with the
beat
bullies.
up by some bullies, and then David's like, "All right, dude, let's
By a posse of
we're gonna
bullies.
follow him." And then he follows the posse to a bar where you find out, well, since they're on the football team, they let them drink.
yeah,
there.
they serve him,
So they go to the bar.
Watered down booze.
Yeah. So
small town, like, football player status kind of
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
So then David's like, "Hey, get the girls some blowjob shots." Oh, and because I have to, I guess, get the dudes martinis, whatever,
Cosmopolitan.
cosmopolitans, and then they're like, "What the fuck, dude?" And then
They throw
he,
the Cosmo in his face.
yeah, and then so he systematically beats the shit out of all of them
After ordering a fireball
after ordering Fireball. Before
right in the guy's face.
Fireball was a drink, this was vodka with Tabasco sauce.
Yeah, that's all that
Tabasco.
it was.
That's-
Which would destroy your
It was
Yes.
yeah. Was
Which
it,
he-
did
which
he
he-
say vodka or did he say whiskey?
It's vodka.
It was.
He said vodka.
Yeah.
And then he
'Cause it
put
was
like some
beet
kind
red
of
when he got it,
clamato and
No, just Tabasco sauce.
that's
Two,
it.
He
Yeah.
gave 2 ingredients. It was
Yeah.
booze and Tabasco.
Because that thing was beet red.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tabasco. He must have just like popped open the Tabasco thing and just
That-
poured
it-
that.
and then they-
Honestly,
sucker
to
in
get
there.
and
that
then
color, but I don't know about the drink, but to get that color for that glass of the shot, it was more Tabasco than anything if they were using those.
I think they just kind of emptied a whole Tabasco into
But
that and then just
anyway,
filled it up with a little shot
he
of
used
vodka.
that then when he was fighting the dudes
yeah,
and
like,
threw it in the
toss that
dude's
back
eyes.
in their faces.
But yeah, and then this thing happens with the party, and then after the party where he meets that guy, then he gets those guns, kills the dude
selling the guns and the drug dealer.
and then you find out that the boss is dead, and his wife, and then she calls the military base.
Just to check up on who this David guy is.
Yep, and they're
So-
like, "No, this dude's dead."
Well, he's flagged
Real
on the
quick.
computer.
Yeah.
Real quick, like he shows up in their life and is like, acquaintance of your son, knew him while he died, asked me to look out for you guys, and then he just there are multiple times, and this is part of what I think is really appealing about this movie, which makes it, if not unique, like fit into this niche of appealing to a certain amount, like you said, like part Michael Myers, part Terminator, where like there's multiple times in the movie where the mom or the dad or the brother or somebody is like, it's nice to have him around. It's nice to like think about our brother. And then the camera shifts through the wall over to where David is, and he's just sitting, staring blankly dead ahead.
Yep.
And then the
Waiting
music
for
comes
that.
in of like synth music, and you're like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
huge tonal shift within a couple seconds. And it's just-
This whole deviation from his main mission was just to give that message to the parents of the dead son.
Yeah.
So he was just gonna say,
Well,
you
the
know
son's
what?
dead, but they knew that.
I know he was just gonna say, you know what? I was there with him at the end. I
Yeah.
held him in my arms when he died.
Yeah.
He just wanted to say how much he loved you, and he wanted to leave. But
Yeah.
the mom's like, no, you should stay for a
Yep.
couple nights. And
That
then he's
stuff-
like, all right. And then
Yep.
like I don't think he wanted to be there for just
No.
that long. But
He's a-
after this,
He was a stone cold psychopath.
he was, because
Well-
after he was like all pleasant and smiling
Can
to the
we-
family, he just sat down in the dark and just stared at the wall and didn't do anything. Like, that's what I imagine when he's not on
Basically,
camera.
basically, he was just doing it so he could it would cause the least amount of friction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would not call attention to himself.
Can we get into some spoiler stuff? Because I want to talk about like my like theory, quote unquote. I guess.
Hold up. First, I actually think he, in some weird way, actually cared for that family.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree in my
Because
interpretation.
why else then would he kill the boss? Why would he help the kid out?
The thing is you might have been talking during that, but he did say, "I want to help this. I want to help you guys. I
Yeah.
made a promise
Yeah.
to your son
to do
help you guys.
whatever I can to help you guys.
Yeah. So he did all this stuff
even in
for
the
the
end,
family.
So-
even in the end, when he's laying, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
When he's laying dying, after the fucking son has stabbed him with the knife that he gave him, he was just like, "Good, that's what you should have done."
Yeah, he's like, he made the right choice. Like, but
But he is a stone
He
cold
gave
psychopath.
each of them, other than the daughter, a sense of purpose in their life now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gave the dad reason to live at his job or something like that. But then like after everything went to shit, after the daughter called in this shit, he's just like, well, this family's got to die because they can't know that I'm alive.
well, and
Yeah.
she sort of learned to appreciate like her family a little bit more. Or
Yeah.
like, learned to appreciate the things in life that she wasn't appreciating because she was like just hanging out with Zeke and like he was a drug dealer and she would seem like really just kind of like moody and not happy
Right.
and then
When he was
she
trying
showed
to-
him and
Yeah.
or he showed her like a way
Oh
to
yeah, he got Zeke fucking arrested too for
Yeah, he knew that.
killing
he knew that
the dude because he doesn't want
boyfriend was a
bad
bad
for her.
decision.
So
for
and
her.
here's my theory about that. Okay, is later on when Richards, whatever his name is talking to her in the car. He's talking about like an experiment and then some dialogue earlier from David and just stuff throughout the movie.
kind of like an MK Ultra.
Exactly. There's intimation that there was some sort of project that both David and the dead son Caleb were a part of.
Yep.
And my thinking is that they got to know each other as part of that project. Caleb didn't make it through that project.
Yep.
David did. He survived. And because of whatever happened to him, how they're training, whatever they did to him, he's crazy. But he does have attachment to Caleb.
Yeah.
And from what he's heard from Caleb, to Caleb's family somewhat. So when he is free and like goes out in the world, he like
It's an attachment to something he cared about.
yeah, like he.
That's
he-
why I
he
said
goes
like he had
and-
the Mako eyes, and you're like, oh, who'd he fuse with? And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, he's probably been through the ringer through
Yeah.
like all these tests and all these simulations and body
Augmentation.
a bunch of stuff because he can obviously take knives, he can take shots. He's a survivor. This guy's like been through the ringer like so hard,
And they don't-
and by the end he's still able to suture himself up and just walk out nonchalant.
Yeah.
Like
They don't
nothing
even
happened.
call attention to it either, but like multiple times he just pulls out this huge wad of bills of hundreds.
Yep.
And there's never any attention of like where it came from, what he does with it really. It's just in a couple moments where he needs to spend money, he takes it out, brings out the money. But that makes me think like, okay, so he probably was operating as like some sort of like mercenary or something for a while.
He's a
with
sleeper
his,
cell.
like- yeah,
He was-
like,
What you
yeah.
can derive from that part where they go to like out of that town and into like the corporate headquarters area where like after she gave the call to the
Yeah.
military, you can see on the screen that it says David something like David Copenhagen or something
Yeah.
weird. It's not the picture of Dan Stevens. It's a random other picture. So it's after he goes to that plastic surgeon to get his face reconstructed.
Yeah.
They talk about this method or this operation, whatever, is kind of dismantled or whatever they say has been diffused. They were part of that, and I think David was the only survivor of that group. And it's
Well-
kind of like if you've played the Witcher games, it's like what Witchers go through, where they like get all these things imbibed inside them. Like they get hoses and they get all these spirits, all these like drinking alcohol like to like a horrible excessive amount where it's supposed to poison them over time. So like they're constantly like poisoned somehow. So a lot of kids that go through this process die, and only like 10 out of 100 kids make it, and
Right.
sometimes less. So that's what I
And,
think what happened with David and this group of people. They were going through this this horrible procedure
Right.
where they become these killing
I
machines.
think maybe
Yeah,
in
'cause
the
what's
end,
his fuck the
Luke.
no, the guy who the government guy played by
Richard?
dude from Richard, yeah.
Yeah.
He
Lance Reddick.
Yeah, he told her, we were kind of talking at the time, but I kind of tuned back in. We were saying he was a dude who was trained to tie up loose ends, essentially.
Yep. Yeah. So
Which is what he does throughout the entire movie, essentially.
He
too.
does.
he
ties
like
up loose
yeah
ends.
he.
the-
It seems like he goes out of his way to like get rid of all the negative influences of his perception in this family's life by just straight up executing people. And yeah,
Quickest
I think
and cleanest way to.
I feel like at the end when he's like when he's killed the parents and he's going after Anna and Luke in the school, I feel like he like part of his programming and part of his training is to tie up loose ends like that and to kill people like that. But he like actually did kind of care about them. So then at the end when he was talking to Luke, that wasn't just like him putting on some sort of act or like
No, he-
still using cover. That was him being like, no, like
His main
good job, Luke.
goal was to give the family reassurance that, his brother died honorably and stuff like that. And then to help them in any way he could, he kind of tied up loose ends while getting out of that situation too at the end. Like he fake died, and then if you heard in the background after the paramedic came up to the firefighters, like, we have a couple bodies in there, one's tooth is
They're-
all knocked out.
One of his
They're
all of
burned.
his
The
teeth.
bodies are burned.
The bodies are
and
burned
one
and
of the
some have
are
teeth knocked
gone.
out. So he took the identity of probably the detention guy or
Probably.
somebody.
Somebody.
And he actually
Or
went
just-
out with
Since he's
the,
burnt, he doesn't have fingerprints.
Yep.
Since they doesn't have teeth, they don't have dental records, so
Yep.
they can't identify who it is. So they won't know.
So that was the loose end. So
Yep.
he doesn't have to go off and hunt down these kids anymore.
No.
He tied up that loose end thinking that, only the daughter was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And that's where the movie ends, where she just like
Which was
realizes the
which was like-
firefighter guy was.
Yeah.
I don't know. If it feels like maybe if they had done it just a little bit differently, or in any other movie, that would have been like
And
sort of
maybe-
a cheap ending of like, of course you'd end it that way,
Because you were saying multiple times throughout it was like they were enhancing his eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why, though, because that last shot, the only thing you see, are his eyes.
yeah.
So if they're not emphasized
Yeah, you're
throughout
supposed to
it,
you're supposed to be able to read them.
you're not. Yeah, you're
if
not
anybody
able to
if anybody
pay
else
attention.
watches The Guest, like I would say just maybe like look for that, because there were a couple times like what he's saying is there were a few times throughout the movie where I felt like they were like just enhancing the color of his eyes just a little bit, like just making them a little bit more blue, where either the lighting, they shouldn't have been that bright, or like something like that. I don't know.
That's some like attention to detail. If that was the entire reasons, because they knew at the end they were gonna have him sneaking out, and the only way that you could tell it was him, other than the fact he was limping, that was the first like,
Yeah.
oh, what the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he looks and you see the eyes, then you know it's him.
That's good. That would be really good, like planning
Yeah.
like beforehand. But that
be
also lends a little bit of like mysticism to it too.
Yeah.
Because the first time that I noticed it, I think was
Get lost in
when
his
he was
eyes.
sitting in the darkness, just staring straight ahead.
Yeah.
I was like,
You're supposed to.
they look a little bit more like they look enhanced, and so that made me think like, oh, well, like the Terminator, his eyes light up, or people like a lot of times when they're portrayed as like being magical or using magic,
Yeah.
their eyes light up or something. So I was like,
Yep.
maybe there's something to this.
Just like
guy.
in
Maybe there's something
Dune.
supernatural, or yeah,
Right.
like.
But yeah, so like we were saying, after when it goes down, when shit hits the fan, it immediately. It's
Yeah,
like
when I said
immediate.
this is the tipping point,
Yeah.
the cars show up.
That's an immediate tipping point, though.
He was
This
just
isn't
doing
like this
laundry.
isn't like it's about to start. It starts right then.
Yep.
And you
He
think
fucking shows up. The government dudes show up. He's like, this dude that's calling whatever, and she's like, oh yeah, oh he just went inside, and then there he is,
Boom.
and then boom, there it is.
Yep.
He starts murking dudes, and then
bullets.
Yep, gunfights are
everywhere.
going, and then the mom's just like, fucking, oh shit, blah blah blah, what's going on? He's like, well, it's a long story, whatever. He's like, I wasn't truthful. And then she was just like, oh, he's in here, and then he fucking stabs her.
And that's
Fucking
like
kills
the
her right
moment,
there.
especially when the cars are driving up and you're like, oh, here we go. Things are gonna really start building towards the climax. That's when you're like, and now is when they're gonna start dumping stuff about like who he is, where he came from, what he's doing. They didn't.
They didn't
Like,
until
give-
that card ride with
they give
the girl.
Just brief.
But even in there, it was super brief, and it was
yeah.
super
Not detailed.
Yeah, it was very nondescript. So it was like,
It's another similarity with, because like I brought up Drive, right?
Yeah.
Because it's got like that
Oh.
kind of synthy soundtrack
Yeah.
to it.
Yep.
But it's kind of like that in the way where you don't know, like you know next to nothing about this main character of the movie.
Yeah, he's
Well-
essentially the main character. It's the first person you see.
I didn't pay attention in the titles, but on IMDb, his character is David in quotes.
Yeah, it was on the credits
Okay.
too.
Yep. And I assume that probably was the case too.
Yep.
But- so yeah, I mean,
Like how Gosling was the driver.
Yep.
The driver.
In Drive. But yeah, and then
Can
yeah,
you see
'cause
how
then
he's
that happens-
kind of like, imagine if this was a big series of movies
Right.
like
I
Halloween.
was just thinking about that, dude.
right where
I
he
was
just
thinking
keeps
about
drifting from family to family.
It's kind of like a Michael Myers,
Yeah.
where he like never dies.
Right.
It's always a new incarnation of him.
right.
He always
You
takes a
can't-
new persona. He's
my-
like,
You can't do that though. That ruins it.
My other common sense.
well, that's why I like this as a self-contained movie.
Right.
I'm just saying that
you
character,
could, if you
could
wanted to
continue
exploit
doing
it, yeah.
If you wanted to.
My other complaint again is just stupid common sense stuff. Was once they get to the school, and it's like this maze to get in there. First of all, ain't no school ponying up that much money for a fucking, especially a small town school like that, for that type of fucking like haunted house
Would never be
maze
that
thing into the
extravagant.
no.
Yeah.
Like I said, at South where we went,
Yeah.
it was just like fucking torn up garbage bags hung from the ceiling with some like lights and some like hung up spooky
Yeah, they
things.
wouldn't put up actual walls.
No, yeah, like full on sets and shit. But and then like when they get in there, they're like, "Oh, how do we get out?" And it's like, I think we can go through here." Like, if you because they're setting up a dance, right? They're setting up a
the
Halloween
detention
dance.
guy's like, there's an exit this way.
There has to be an easily
Immediately-
found exit. right?
Immediately into a hall of mirrors.
Yeah, where the exit is just so happens to be a hall of mirrors.
The first
Oh,
step
shit.
in leaving the room that you're in to get to the exit is to go through hall of
Yep.
mirrors.
Then the teacher gets fucking murked.
Yep.
Yep.
And then fucking what's his fuck that I keep forgetting the name
Lance
of.
Riddick.
Lance Riddick.
Yep.
Fucking who you think's gonna be the hero? He's fucking dead.
I mean,
Yep.
I think it looked like he just. It was so quick. That's why I
Sliced
asked, like,
his
what
arm.
was that?
I think he got him in the gut too. Like he sliced. Like it looked like he stabbed and got the arm.
yeah.
And into his gut.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think he
Like,
probably
went
like
this
hit
way.
a really probably major artery in the
that.
arm going through with that big stab. Because
Yeah.
he was clutching his arm like real
Yeah.
bad, and then he slowly kind of just like
Yeah,
petered
when he
out,
went
like
down, he was like this though too.
yeah, he was grabbing his.
And then
grandma's
so then he's chasing them through there.
Mm-hmm.
Then she finally fucking that was the other thing when she because David is this like hero or whatever to Luke
Yep. He kind of
and
helped Luke,
yeah. So what's her fuck the sister
Anna.
finds him and she's just like you need to hide. He's like, well, no, he wouldn't hurt us, whatever. He's, we just need to go out and talk to him. And she's like, he killed our parents, and he's just like,
You're making that up.
nah,
You're just saying that.
nah. And she's like, and then she starts tearing up
She
and
starts
crying.
crying.
And
He's like,
oh,
wait,
shit,
no,
bro."
you're being serious.
So then she stashes him behind some shit, hides him.
Hides
What's
him like
his
an old
fuck-
loaf of bread.
Yeah, what's the David comes in, he's like, oh, speaking where you at, buddy? Luke. And then he hears noise and he goes off because it's her.
Which that idea was actually pretty damn smart.
Yeah.
Like taking
The blood trail.
So what she does is she takes the boots off of Lance Riddick.
Yeah.
His like combat boots, dips him in his blood and moves his body.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's gotten up, and then she leaves like a trail of bloody boot prints to the middle of the gymnasium floor and just leaves the boots there in the
Yeah.
like in the middle of the like
Fog.
the smoke machine that's going
Yeah.
on for the dance. And then that David like follows the footprints and then
So why is
finds
the smoke machine on right
boots.
now? It's not the night of the dance.
No, I think Dave
But he
turned
was
it
in the
on.
DJ booth and he hit like the
Oh,
sliders.
yeah, yeah.
And that was the one, like, I don't know, that was one thing where I was like, I don't know if you'd know how to operate all that. Like, he wouldn't know what's hooked up to what light specifically. He might know, like, this is generally for lighting, this is generally
Right.
for sound, but he wouldn't know, like, this is going to this
Specific.
bank over here, that's going to this, like, you know.
Suspension of disbelief.
Yes,
And then
but
I know that's my stuff
Oh, I
has
know,
all been
I know.
suspension of disbelief too. But and then he's like, what does she do to him? Does she stab him in the
Nope.
back? What does she
Shoots
do?
him once in the shoulder.
Oh, yeah,
shoots him
shoots
once,
him in the
like,
shoulder.
yeah, in the,
And then he's in the Foggy Boy. and then
Just laying in the foggy.
yep, and then stabs her in the calf.
Yeah.
She goes down.
Yep.
He gets on top of her.
And then
he's
he
starting
gets
to
on,
choke her out.
starting to choke her out. And then Luke comes in with the knife he gave him,
Stabs him in the back.
stabs
quick.
him in the back, and he's just like, "Oh, Luke, what's up, dude?" Like whatever. And then Luke
I mean,
stabs him in the ribs, in the chest, under his pectoral.
In the
muscle.
back, yep, in the shoulder blade in the back, and then kind of like turns around, and he's like, "Okay, Luke," and then he just drives it
kind
in
of
him.
lets Luke do it almost because he easily could have disarmed him, and even being stabbed once, we've seen him do other stuff in the movie. He easily could have disarmed him and killed him right there. So I think,
But we
he,
haven't
like,
seen
let-
him get that level of hurt yet. Like we saw him get
He
shot in
got
the leg.
He got shot in the stomach.
Yeah, he got shot in the leg and he tied that shit up.
Yeah.
And he got shot in the stomach, but then you didn't see him really dealing with it between then and when he shows up there. And then
Well, then he got in a car crash. He's
Oh
like-
yeah,
We know
had a
that
car
he's
crash
capable.
too, yeah,
Is
when
what
he
I'm
killed
saying.
the
We know
dad.
that he's like capable.
yeah.
So, and here's
So
here's part
and
of my
where he
theory
stabbed
too.
him too is like a good classic place to fucking murder a bitch at. So like that happened, and then so he's laying there with a knife in him, he's just fucking right by the rip stone. And so like, oh cool, and they get out, and then EMT's like, oh, you're orphans now, and then
pretty much.
and then they're sitting there, and then they drop the tidbit about the dudes like found bodies, but they were burned.
Burned.
One was missing their teeth.
No teeth.
And then so you're like 2 bodies. There was 3,
Yep.
and then burnt missing teeth, which is a
Which
way
is-
to cover up the identity of somebody. And then you see a firefighter coming out,
With a limp.
and he's limping, and you're like, whoa, and she's like, and
She,
then he
like-
turns around, and there's them eyes.
Yeah,
Just staring back at Anna.
And it's like, what the
Well,
fuck?
Anna got up like,
stood up from the back
She's
of the
like-
ambulance and was like,
who's this guy?
I see you.
Ended it on a nice like, what the fuck, or like, oh fuck. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I love the button endings like that where
Yeah.
she just goes, "What the fuck?"
And then boom, the Gweast.
Yeah.
Here's part of my theory as well, okay? Until the tipping point, he was genuinely trying to, in his own fucked up way, do
Yeah.
whatever he could to help his family.
Yep.
And then
Oh
afterwards,
yeah, because it wasn't anything
Even
harming
giving
them in that.
even giving Luke that sage advice: if
Yeah.
you get beat up by your enemies, go to their house, burn them down.
It was
Yeah.
like
Let the
he was
family
like-
inside.
He's like, take a knife to school.
Yeah.
like,
and if that doesn't work, go to their house and burn
it
them
down,
alive with their families
families
in the
inside.
house. Yeah. Which is like the
Luke's-
non-constructive version of the Sean Connery speech from the Untouchables. Like,
Well, Luke's reaction was like,
all right.
fair,
Sure,
I guess.
dude.
He's like, whatever you say. But
Okay.
here, so like, you know, he's trying to help him. Tipping point happens where he's like, oh shit, gotta tie up loose ends.
Yep.
Kills the mom, kills the dad.
Yep.
Gets to the school, and
Didn't
then
really care much about that.
and then at a certain point, he figures out like, oh, if this goes down in a certain way, I don't have to kill both of these people.
Yeah, I just need a way out.
So maybe in his own way, he was still trying to do what was necessary to like shock Luke into like being in his right mind after his brother's death and everything
Yeah.
that had just happened. Same thing with Anna. Maybe he was like
Put her on the right path.
put her and because maybe Luke with his like pent up like anger of being bullied and stuff might have been somebody who might have lashed out in a very unhealthy like
So in the
hurtful
end,
way.
what
So
he did actually helped them.
having that outlet of
Except
like
for the no parents.
killing somebody, but having it be like a just way, like protecting somebody you care about, protecting somebody that's been murdering other people, innocent people, is maybe a way of Luke like getting that out and then going on with the rest of his life. And for Anna, she's had this thing of like really having to connect with her brother and protect him. And now from now on, she's going to live a more wholesome lifestyle and like be close to her
Oh yeah,
brother.
and her struggling with the fine line between like being productive and being like a dreg of society, and this kind of
well,
shocks
she
her
had
into
she
it.
had all that stuff with
And-
her boyfriend kind
yeah.
of dragging her down. Like,
And now that he's gone, the drug situations, whatever. There's no parents, so she's got to step up.
yep,
And
she
so
has
it's-
to.
Maybe in
puts
some
them-
fucked up way, at some point, David was like, you know what? I could actually still make their lives better. Let's do
Yeah.
it. You know, maybe that like that's part of my theory.
Yeah,
Is that
It's good. I have
he
other
was like,
theories about.
He went into mission saving mode, but
Yep.
then he was like, oh shit, like I killed them, over and done with, can't fix that, but things can still turn out
What
okay
if he
for these kids.
What if he was a completely broken down, transformed version of their brother?
That's what I'm gonna get at here. I'm gonna actually go into that right now
Because he was there when he died.
here's what I'm thinking. Do you remember the part where they started to learn about the plastic surgeon?
Yeah.
Did that happen before he went into this program or after he escaped the program?
Right.
Yeah.
What I think is that he did it after he escaped the program. So when you look at the photo of him when they call up and it's flagged saying like contact KRG about this guy, the picture is not Dan Stevens. So they had a picture of him pre facial
Pre-op.
reconstruction.
Yep.
So that's kind of suspect because he goes to the house. The mom steps away. He's at the mantle of the fireplace.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Dan Stevens
Yep.
next to the brother.
Yep.
I'm guessing that he probably did some kind of photoshopping and planted that there of
Or-
some kind.
Or the brother still had that picture,
Or
and when
he
he
knew-
went to the physical or the
Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering where
the
this time
surgeon,
frame is happening.
He was like
Either the brother's
make me
dead.
this guy.
Because he
Yeah.
knew, the brother knew who he took the picture with and who he was
Yeah.
in the picture with. So he was like, "Oh,
This
I
guy's
have this
dad.
guy.
I'll be this guy.
I sent a copy of this to my family at home. I'm gonna turn it to this guy."
That's where we can speculate on, like, okay, it's not that guy. That's not David.
The
'Cause
person in the picture.
Lance Riddick shows a picture of who he thinks that is
Yeah.
to the mom, and she's like, "Oh, that's David." And he's like, they both like the mercenary guys
Yeah.
and Richard's like look at each other like that's not right.
She said the magic words.
And so at that moment, you realize, okay, the guy in the picture is not David. He takes the name David as his, like, that's his real name, but took that persona of that guy and was like, you know what, that looks like me. I'm going to say that's me in that picture now. And, like, make myself, you know, part of this family saying,
Well,
like, I knew him, but he never really did, because the mom does say before she gets stabbed, did you ever know my son? And he's like,
He said,
Yeah. Well,
he said, like, I don't really have time to explain any of this to you right now.
yeah.
the first thing out of his mouth was like an emphatic, like he emotionally was like, "Yes, yeah, of course I knew him." Like
didn't know.
he leaned into that.
Yeah, he did.
He,
So,
he was
yeah,
really
what
trying
I'm
to impress her
thinking-
that he did.
If this is the way the son was in the program with this guy, that and they all of them die except the son. The son survives, but he's so like broken. They've broken him to be this like MK Ultra fucking like
Yeah, he's just
like
tactical.
mindless. I forgot who I used to
Programmed,
be.
yeah.
But there's still a kernel.
It's like
in
you
there.
have these, you go through like electroshock therapy.
Yeah.
You like have these memories that just get
Yeah.
locked away that you can never remember.
Yeah. And
so he like now has no recollection of having a family.
So when he escapes, then like I said, he still has a picture, that picture, whatever, and he goes and's like, make me this guy.
Yeah.
Like maybe that was his friend in the fucking thing, whatever. So he makes him like that, and then he feels this pull towards this family, which is his family, but he doesn't know it, and that's why he feels like acting like a big brother to these people, and then like, and it was actually the brother.
That's what I'd like to believe too. You can speculate that
Especially
the
when
whole time.
you can look into the I held him in my arms as he died or whatever, or I was there when he died.
I was there when he died.
being that it was when the brother died, he came to be type of situation.
What?
Yeah.
If I'm going way out of left field here. What if the person that
Gave him
called
the
himself
under-table handies.
David
Yeah.
is David, whatever his last name was,
Yeah.
from a different universe, or
David
from a different
Collins?
dimension? Hear me out. He actually did know Caleb. He actually went through the experiment, a ton of this stuff, and maybe somehow due to the experiment or something like that, he was brought over into this other world. Caleb's gone. The other David gone as well. And then he just slots himself in real cool and casual to what's going on here, and he's like, "Oh, yeah.
But where's the surgeon come in? Plastic surgeon.
I don't know. I'm spitballing here. I'm brainstorming.
I like the idea.
I do like that
because
idea.
he had the dog tags.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I feel like would be pretty hard to fake. Like You can get a name on there, sure, but the other information, like,
So I'm saying if Caleb was in it with that dude, he could have. Then that dude died. He could have snuck his dog tags off of him or some
yeah,
shit.
and he had no fingerprints, so you know,
Yeah.
there is no like way really to find out who this person is other than like a DNA test. But even that, you have to like have somebody get.
That's
a match
why I'm
against
thinking
it.
he's been so put under the knife, where like even his blood is like some kind of random transfused amalgamation of
Been
some.
filtered out of his.
It's not anybody's blood, and his DNA is so like radiated that you
Yeah.
can't get anything from it.
And the like, I don't know. I only thought about the other universe thing is because he doesn't even arrive into town in a car.
Nope, he runs.
He runs into town. He's got a
He
phone.
said he ran from like the West Coast or some shit too.
Like other people have like smartphones, and
Yeah,
he's
he's
got
got a
like an
burner
old
phone.
burner like flip phone.
Yeah.
that he has been making calls on.
Yep.
So he's been in contact with a handler
And
of some kind.
why would he be in that time around Anna and Luke? And I'm genuinely asking this question about the movie itself, not about any theory. Why would he be calling that surgeon like at that time? The work is done. Why would he need to call that surgeon? You get what I'm saying?
Well, it was
Well,
probably
that call
in the
could have
history.
happened.
Call history.
Yeah, it was in call history, so it could have happened. Like he could have had that burner for a while.
It could have been. I mean, it looked like he only made like 4 calls.
Burners aren't like long-term things, though.
They can be, though.
That's what a burner is.
I know they can be. They're
You can make a
easily
certain amount of
disposed.
minutes on a phone, and he's
Yeah.
probably just like, all right, where's this doctor?
I don't know. I'm
You
just,
call
you
him.
can-
I'm thinking.
The
'cause,
thing
like,
with burners is that they are so easily disposable.
Yep, and you can't.
So like, if he didn't need to dispose it, he didn't have to.
And Lance Reddick would know all about that from being in The Wire.
Exactly.
The whole first season was all about burner
yeah,
phones.
he was in the what was the acronym? The KRG. I think it was the
Something like
KPG, something like that.
Yeah.
It was close enough to KGB, and like the way that they were sitting in this war room and talking about stuff, it just really rang true of like some
Clandestine.
some fucking black ops, like nothing on record. Some crazy guy had this theory about doing this experiment, and they're like, we are not going to have any part of this. If you want to do it, we're not going to say no, but we're also not going to say yes. Like,
Kind of like The Wire.
Yeah.
it's
It's a select group of folks that go and just follow these
The
drug
rest of the
dealers.
government
Like-
doesn't want to have to deal with it.
Yep.
Lance-
They
Lan-
have to go through the courts.
Lance Reddick's character was the kind of character that like a 5-star general could go up to him and start telling him, briefing about stuff, and Lance Reddick is just like, man, I got shit going on that you don't even like.
Yeah, and then
that you can't
and
even
then someone else
imagine.
comes and talks to him, and
Or
then the
it's like-
5-star general's like, "What's going on?" He's like, "It's above your pay grade."
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like Skinner
Yeah.
or the cigarette smoking man, where it's just like,
Singular
oh,
thing,
your
little
little
thing.
problems, you know. Like it just feels like he's way more in the loop than anything, and it I don't know. It was there's stuff that is like fun about this movie. I don't this and it's weird. It takes place during like the Halloween season.
Yep.
There's a Halloween dance and everything, but
It's kind of got an
doesn't-
eerie vibe.
Halloween party.
I don't know. To me, it doesn't feel like a Halloween movie.
No, it never feels like a Halloween movie. It just
Halloween's just
that's why-
something that's happening.
Yeah, Halloween.
Yes.
Just,
Yeah.
like
It's not a
it's
focus.
It's meant to be for the climax.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing.
But
that's another thing, just to set up that.
Wait,
climax.
it's Halloween now? I don't get it.
Yeah, like to set. That's just like the Blue Eyes thing. It's like
Yeah.
set up from the beginning, exclusively to pay off at the end.
Yeah.
This I feel like would probably be a good first date movie because it's real, like easygoing.
Yeah.
It's got stuff that people who are fans
You
of
can
the Terminator.
think about it, but you also don't have to
You
think.
also
at all.
don't have to put anything into it. Somebody who might
I mean,
not
there
be
were
a fan of,
conversations
like-
going on. I'm not going to give too much away about the cottage cheese under the sinks.
Oh yeah, dude.
Wow. Holy shit! That's the first time that we said anything about cottage cheese, and I thought that was going to be way more.
True American tradition about keeping cottage cheese under the sink
For your guests.
For your guests.
For your guests, when
Only
they
your
arrive.
guests.
Only for
This
guests.
might be something that's maybe
regional.
we've only heard in North Dakota.
or maybe
but,
it's
I
just
mean,
something that isn't like
you might have other things
it's
underneath
been
your
lost during
sink.
the times.
Or it could be like a tradition like secret under the table handies.
Yeah, from the guest.
Yep. For the guest.
For the
guest
guest that
handy.
shows up.
Yep.
No, it's from the guest.
Or for.
You said earlier that it was from the guest.
It is from the guest,
Okay.
but it could be for the guest sometimes.
To be hospitable.
I mean, whether it's coming from physically, the act is coming from the guest.
Just know that if the sink cottage cheese is not there, that gives the guest the right to stab you and kill you.
Fair.
Fair.
It's like Game of Thrones where they do the salt in the bread.
Yeah.
You have your cottage cheese under
Sink
the
cheese,
sink for your guest.
Yes.
That is what you do.
There's got to be some kind of spoon.
There are rules to this equation, people.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say probably just for me, like,
But yeah, you can turn, like you were saying though, you can turn your
General-
brain off a little bit.
yeah, like somebody who might not be a fan of a lot of the elements that go into this movie probably could still watch, as long as they are open to like action, a little bit of spookiness, just general like good time. They'll probably have, and they won't have a bad time.
No lie though, like we were riffing over like half of this movie,
More than half,
but
for
we
sure.
still like knew exactly what was going on.
Still captivating enough. I mean,
Yeah,
it's still,
well, that was just it. It wasn't that we were like bored.
No.
It was just that we were getting what was going on, so we could also kind of throw some additional hoo-has
English on top of that.
Yeah. If you have time, watch it, in a better setting by yourself or something like
Yeah.
that. Kind of get another take on it by kind of looking at.
Sit in a dark room
Yeah, you
with a
could.
blanket, like over your head, kind of like all kind of like
Babushka.
babushka'd up. Yep.
How many times is that?
We've been doing that so many
Dude,
times.
that is the fifth.
Holy
like,
fuck.
Jesus.
That word was even like on the tip of our tongues at the same
That,
time.
that- that is not a common word for most
No.
people to jump to, but we both went right there.
Babushka'd. And with a fucking big old pail of fucking cottage cheese.
Oh yeah,
Not the guest cheese.
not
Leave
the guest cheese. Leave the guest
Get
cheese under
yourself
the
a
sink.
small lap table so
Yeah.
that you can give yourself a stranger handy underneath
Yeah.
said lap table.
If need be, like if it starts dragging a little bit for some reason in the middle, sit on your hand a little bit. Sit on your hand for a little bit till it gets numb, and then you can give yourself the stranger and have a little secret under the table handy if you need
But
be.
use the cottage cheese, not
Yeah,
from the
as
guest
a-
cheese
yep.
as lube.
no, do not take from the guest cheese, but use cottage cheese for your lube.
Yeah, not the guest cheese.
Do not use the guest cheese. I don't know how
No.
much more clearly I can state that.
I don't care what sink it is, what sink's cheese it is.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore all the guest cheese under the sink.
Mm-hmm.
You get your own cottage cheese. This is don't
It's
There-
hospitality 101.
Yes.
There is cheese that you can use, and then there is cheese that you cannot use.
And the guest cottage
this
cheese
guest
is that
cottage
one.
cheese falls into the latter. Okay,
Hey, if it's guest cream cheese, you're fine.
if it's guest
Guest cream cheese is fine.
if it's guest cheddar, little column A, little column B.
Yeah.
It's your call.
I don't,
Yeah.
don't
Dealer's
don't-
choice.
Don't ask me about the camembert though. Like that's
Or the brie.
or the brie. That's a whole nother like subsect of rules
Yep.
and charts and graphs and shit. We don't need to get into that.
Because of union regulation, we are not actually allowed to talk about Munster, so that's
No,
one
yeah.
we'll just let lie.
There's also another cheese, but I can't legally state it
Gruyere?
by name. Oh, there's
He-
another
he
one.
cannot say
I
that.
cannot.
You can
say
say
it.
that all you want.
It
He
might
cannot
involve
say
a
that.
word that sounds like a color,
Yep,
and
yep, yep, yep.
and it might
It's got a
commonly,
really pungent
It might have
sense.
some like mold veins in it,
Hey, everybody.
and it might kind
Listen
of go
So
well.
I just want to
with,
ask you a
like,
question.
chicken
At what
wings
point
and
do you think
stuff,
this turned into a digression? Because
legally, I
there's
cannot.
probably a really specific point,
I cannot
and
divulge the name of that
that's going to be up
because
for
then
you
we
guys
get
to
into some
decide
real
when this became a
legal issues.
digression,
Yeah, you can.
not a
Deep
conversation
legal
about the
issues.
guest,
We're talking about
the
guest
movie that we
cheese,
watched.
but not this cheese. This
On
is
Red
I
Cerrito.
shouldn't. I technically
you.
shouldn't have even said it was a cheese, but
True, it's in the name.
I mean like, it's out. It's not that won't get me in trouble, but
Yeah, I know.
NDA doesn't mean you can't talk about it. It just means you can't say it.
So
yeah,
to take away from this movie, don't take the guest cheese.
nope.
Yes.
Don't take the guest cheese.
Yes.
Yes. No.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, do not take the guest cheese. In closing,
Would you
enjoy
watch this film again?
I would watch it again. I'm saying enjoy this movie with your date and your babushkas and your cottage cheese.
Wilson, your turn.
That was where I was going to end it anyway.
Yeah.
No, like under the.
Would I watch this movie again? Is that the question?
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Would
I-
you
I need-
consider it like a nice Halloween type? I don't know. It's not really like a monster flick or like a serial killer.
I don't
but
need
it's-
it necessarily to be a Halloween movie.
It's a thriller. You would say it's a
That's
thriller.
the thing, though.
I'd watch it in the fall.
I almost
Yeah.
like this. It could have taken place on any holiday. Could have been Christmas. Could have been Valentine's. Could have been President's Day dance. Like, I almost wish that Halloween would. I wish there was at least one scene of, like, let's say Luke wants to go out trick or treating, but the bullies are going to be there, so David decides to go with him, and then Luke's going around. The bullies accost him a little bit, and David is like, "No, stand up for yourself." And then they get in a fist fight. Like, maybe that fist fight happens not at school, but while they're trick or treating, or maybe have Halloween have a slightly bigger presence, or more of a reason for it to be on Halloween.
Yeah, the setting didn't make sense for the Halloween theme.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the setting was like an arid climate.
It was like Texas, Nevada.
there was,
it was like
no
there was
leaves
mountains.
falling off. Like the trees, you'd always picture like, hey, let's watch Halloween, the movie.
Yeah, it kind of looked like summertime.
It looked like
little
summertime
bit,
because
yeah.
it was in like a desert.
Yeah.
There was no trees. It was all just plains.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as we said, Halloween just served as a tool. Which I'm fine with.
But good movie. You know,
Interesting
nice
to
palatable watch if you're just looking for some like little bit of action or a little bit of horror ish.
but also you can delve into it if you want to.
if you want to, fucking dive into that deep end because it's nice and warm and inviting, and it's got cottage cheese waiting
Big
for you.
pool of cottage cheese.
Let's just end it there.
All right.
I wasn't going to ask your opinion because you're the one who brought this into this, so fuck you.
Yeah, fuck off, Tyler.
No, I gave my opinion on it. I can watch this film any time of year. It doesn't like
Yeah, it doesn't need
like
to
we
be.
said Halloween. Like
What-
I don't even think I watched it initially.
Suspense,
when it came
thriller.
out on Halloween.
Suspense, thriller, and scary movies for me is like definitely like a fall time.
I
thing.
think I
A
would
cold
have.
weather time.
Yep.
I think
Like,
I
those
would have
movies.
liked
Just
this
like the movie
better
Psycho.
Yeah.
if I didn't know, because I like when you brought it up and then we were talking about it a little bit. I was like, yeah, I've heard the name and I've heard the concept, but
The Geist.
I'm into it. And then once the movie started playing, I was like, oh no, I've heard people talk about this quite a bit. I know the twist. I know what's going on. Hadn't seen the movie obviously, but I think I might have liked
Dad's
it
played
more
a dad
just
for 25 plus years. in
not
television
knowing
and
any of
movies.
that. If I was like really invested and was watching everything and picking up on the little breadcrumbs of exposition that they put in there, I might have been like more reactive to this movie. But
The beer.
for watching it, yeah, I think me and Dad need to go have a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's
We should go have a beer with
Let's have a beer.
the dad from television and movies for the last 25 plus years.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll see
Goodbye.
you next time for
See
Movie
ya.
Time with Reel to Reel.
And we might be back for more spookiness.
Spook to
this
spook.
month.